Attention all Vinnlandians. Attention all Vinnlandians. The following is a mandatory Spiral Architect broadcast of the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board. I repeat, this is a mandatory program. Unadherence is punished. Stay tuned for the VERB broadcast.
Attention all Vinnlandians and all ships at sea. This is Verb, the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board, starring your hosts, Warren Peace and Carl Gustav.
So today, on Verb, we are reviewing The Prophecy from 1995. Would you like to hear what this movie is about?
Would I?
The angel Gabriel comes to Earth to collect a soul, which will end the stalemated war in heaven, and only a former priest and a little girl can stop him. It's a horror movie, of course, 1995. Christopher Walken, of course, the Christopher Walken, as Gabriel. Elias Koteas as Thomas Daggett. Virginia Madison as Catherine. And Eric Stoltz as Simon. I don't remember Eric Stoltz being in the movie, but okay. Directed by Gregory Wyden, who also wrote it. Would you like to hear some trivia about the movie?
Lay it on me.
Well, there's only one piece of trivia. It's not very good. Christopher Walken played an angel in Madonna video, I guess.
That is very trivial.
Yeah, terrible trivia for this one. Anybody good on the soundtrack? Skid Row, Breaking Down. The Monks, some Monks. Yeah, soundtrack's pretty shitty too.
So no Ministry, no...
No, it's no Hardware.
Okay.
Okay, ready to watch the movie then?
I am. Let's get this show on the road.
Here we go. Dimension Films. Screams quality. Nice goatee.
It's the 90s, you had to have one. I just happened to carry that trend forward to this very day. The parts of this movie I think I remember are probably not even from this movie.
From another one?
But if I'm thinking of one scene in particular, and I think the girl in this at the time I thought was pretty easy on the eyes.
She is. Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen.
I think he played Satan. Pretty churchy.
In a church, who would have thunk it? He looks familiar.
Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You're right.
Here's some trivia for you. I recognize the writer-director. He also wrote Highlander. Original Highlander.
Really?
Classic. So, there's some
So he's...
pedigree for you.
Yeah. So he's the cinema's greatest monster for starting...
I'm trying to see if he wrote Highlander 2. He wrote a lot of Hellraiser movies too, actually. He did not write Highlander 2. Is that the freakiest looking angel?
Yeah, that's...
I'm not sure about his chair choice.
I think he's with the tie knotted down, the top button undone, the hair. I think he's supposed to look disheveled and...
He's a cop.
Like, without a care, without...
Priest cop. This movie should have been called Priest Cop.
If it was written by a 5-year-old, it would have... The directing's a lot of quick cuts, like back, forth, back, forth. I don't know if he's trying to show something, or if it's just...
Bad directing. I can say he's only directed 2 movies. Oh, he directed 1 episode of Tales from the Crypt television show. So this is the only movie he's ever directed. So I don't think it's a choice. I think it's just poor directing.
Novice directing,
Novice
I
directing,
think.
yes.
Because when one guy's talking, the camera shoots to him immediately.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's done, the camera shoots to the next guy immediately.
They like perching, don't they?
It's a very interesting take that since they had wings, they would perch. That looks like Mickey Rourke. Like a young...
Only because Mickey Rourke looks like he's had too much surgery.
Yeah, and that guy looks like he's a young old Mickey Rourke. So Angel Eric Stoltz must have been living as a human at this point.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
He had keys, he had an apartment, he has...
Overkill. What was that guy driving the car? If that guy had been in front of him, he would have just hit the wall. What was his plan? Was he committing suicide?
Yeah, no, you're right, because he was going straight forward. There was nothing...
It's not like he swerved and hit the wall.
No, it's not like he was skidded out of control, went up on a...
He drove straight into a wall.
That's crazy.
There he's sitting down. I was going to kill myself.
That's certainly a plot hole.
Was that like the director's friend? Is that cop?
When did all that happen? Because the fight scene we saw, that did not happen.
Well, he did get stabbed in the neck. Maybe it sprayed a bit.
Up back along the wall underneath him?
It bounced off.
He's going to retire.
Is he dead, man?
I think that's a cop who says he's going to retire.
If he dies, that would be the biggest cliche I've ever seen. I guarantee we'll never see that cop again. That's a scene from Predator 2, at the very beginning. Shows like you think you're in the jungle, and then it goes up and you're in LA.
Oh.
The kid in the front's forced to be there.
Yeah, he's not happy.
He's not enthused. So far, I can say that I remember this movie being a lot cooler.
We've barely scratched the surface of the movie, so I'm not...
You're not passing judgment yet?
Oh.
Nothing like tongue on a corpse.
That's exactly like his kind of tongue-in corpse. But to what end?
It's got a thing for corpses. Is there a reason why there's so many Indians in this freaking choir?
I'm guessing it's from maybe Arizona or someplace where it's...
I think they're showing how they corrupted the Indian culture. Are we supposed to think Eric Stoltz is a bad guy?
I think you are supposed to think he's a bad guy at first. And he's constantly holding that... Because the other angel wounded him.
Yeah.
So he has a weird walk. He has a weird... He's not... He didn't look natural to begin with, but I think he's supposed to look... weird. Like he's walking weird. He's holding himself unnaturally.
It just occurred to me. I was like, are we supposed to think he's a bad guy?
He's pale. I think you're supposed to.
How can you ever think Eric Stoltz is a bad guy? He's masked, for fuck's sakes.
He pumped adrenaline into Uma Thurman. Like, that's gotta be...
Oh, that's right.
Prank caller, prank caller.
I don't think I'll just lie down here for a while.
It's not bad. It's setting things up. It's that they had to tell him that there's something unusual, and it's interesting that they went with
Apologist.
it's interesting that they went with his blood was like that of a fetus because it hadn't been corrupted yet. The bones showed no sign of like they could have went with no eyes.
Those who could not accept the lifting of man above them.
I'm really curious to see Walken in this, because I want to know how Walken is in it.
Well, your wish is my command. And by mine, I mean the director and writer. He's Walken right off the bat. Look at him, he's...
He looks so young.
But still, like...
Skeletal?
He hasn't even said a word yet, and he's chewing up the scenery.
She's an amazing actress.
I'm gonna say that that's probably sarcasm. You know who else is in here? Eric Stoltz. I was gonna say, it's very interesting that this cop is actually absorbing this, and normally in the movie the trope would be he would be trying to tell someone that everyone like, you're full of shit. Oh, are you drunk? Oh yes. I know that this is for exposition. I understand the purpose of it.
But he's not, the coroner's not going against him.
He's not immediately saying, "Go fuck off."
Well, he knows there's something weird going on. That body's not normal. Interesting choice of hair.
Always has. His eyebrows, the whole deal. Be interesting to see the reaction of someone who wanders in and finds one of the bodies out of the drawer sprawled out on the floor.
I don't think they'll have to worry about finding him.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's an issue. Now that it's in flames.
Worst sprinkler system ever. The amount of smoke blowing off that thing, there should have been instant.
Yeah, there should have been some sort of alarm. But, look at the rat tail on that kid. Oh, and he's even the kid that you're supposed to look at.
We haven't seen her since lunch. Till I get back, I want everyone reading and being quiet.
Nice mom pants.
Can you keep a secret?
If you didn't know he was an angel, that is a pedophile speech.
Yeah, this is. But I think part building up. You don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy. You're not supposed to know the full story yet, and I think you're supposed to feel menace here. You're supposed to.
I feel scared.
Yeah, you're supposed to. I think. You've only seen this guy pitch a guy out a window, and now he's talking to a little girl and bringing himself dangerously close to a molestation situation.
You're very clever, girl.
I feel wrong about this. I don't care if they're transferring some evil soul. It's still not right. The creepy man stuck his tongue down my throat. Who's looking after her class?
There's a whole classroom full of children right now reading and being quiet.
Or being raped by an angel. He just molested a little girl. She's just hanging out in her classes.
Yeah. What the hell is he doing in a graveyard?
The way this movie's going, I bet he's having sex with a corpse.
I thought he was the hero, and I expected him to last the entire movie. Clearly that's not the case, because Eric Stoltz's heart is now in Gabriel's hand. After all the creepiness and all the setting him up to be the bad guy, there wasn't a really definitive good guy reveal.
There was a bad guy reveal when he kissed the little kid.
No, it was not a good guy reveal even when he said, "I'm just following orders." Maddie, she wasn't up there. Like, the body's still smoking. Maybe you should,
Yeah, did she imply that she did it? She's like, yeah. That's helpful.
And now she's thinking like this general was.
She does have the general's soul in her.
And the general must have been in Vietnam or something, because
He was super evil. He had the black soul or whatever.
He probably saw a bunch of terrible things, and
I think he did a bunch of terrible things.
I think it must have...
Well, good plan there, Simon. Put the soul in the little girls.
She'll be a dark. Wino burned himself up, and I'll be burying him too.
That is your job.
What do you need the wheelbarrow for? It was just a pile beside the...
Yeah.
beside the grave. I don't think you need to wheelbarrow any.
Sorry, but I kind of got my right now.
Oh, now you care about the kids.
Make yourself useful.
Oh, saucy wench.
Yeah. He is a cop.
I'm with it.
She has no respect for authority. That was not even a softball. That was a freaking volleyball.
Homeless people just look for a place.
I think that was probably filmed as an ad lib. Like,
They just laughed their asses up when he whipped it in her fucking head.
just play with the balls. We just need some background footage. Boom. I'll play with the ball.
She was hurt, bloody.
Boom.
That kid made fun of me. Wow.
Is there something going on I should know?
Acting.
I was gonna say his acting wasn't terrible. It was kind of like
Just some dude.
run-of-the-mill dude, and
I always got the feeling he wanted to look at the camera.
it was kind of refreshing that they did just have a guy who had some lines, but it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, usually they wouldn't even,
Give them the
Give 'em
lines,
lines,
so
yeah.
they wouldn't have to have SAG,
yeah.
or they would make sure to make something, or they'd give something that would highlight him, and you would know he would meet some end at the end, like someone to.
Might as well have said, "Watch me" on it. That looks a little too realistic, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't believe with the budget of this film, that
It's probably real.
was probably stopped. Oh, there's the other case that was right there. Yeah, I think they flashed to some stock footage or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like this stuff, you could.
Do you have, like, blood on his mouth?
Yeah.
Is your cannibalism going on?
It said alleged cannibalism.
Oh, did it? I didn't example.
At the beginning of the film, in the writing, it said.
Oh.
Oh,
Nothing like some human faces.
he's carrying around a mask of human flesh.
Couple.
Oh, he skinned the faces of a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. Ears weren't good enough for him.
No, it seems to be a theme of the night. Taking of skin trophies.
That didn't happen in Black Hole.
No, but in Universal Soldier.
Yeah,
we did
we didn't
discuss.
watch Universal Soldier. Did you do something before I got here? Or while I was here? That's a little disturbing.
Yeah, it's not disturbing at all. Him as a young man.
She's standing over his grave.
Fucking kids, man.
She's the worst teacher ever.
Yeah, she just shows up. Kids are
Has
just
to be inside.
abandoned for I don't know how
Yeah.
long.
What?
Long enough for him to investigate.
Say, kids, study your math. Key to the universe.
Anti-science.
Who are you?
Confuse me sarcastic?
That's a long story.
Yeah. She shows up in a midriff shirt and
Ew.
What's going on?
and you're a teacher. You shouldn't be dressed like a tart.
And she should be there when the kids are there,
Yeah.
since she's the only teacher.
It's okay. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to talk to any of them.
It's the fucking cops.
What did he say?
Why is she the authoritarian around here? The grandmother's right there.
Yeah.
What does he want with my kids?
You should be like, the better question is, where the fuck were you?
So some man was looking in your children's mouths and having them on their laps.
I know where you can find them.
You've left them with this person to drive out here now.
Well, he went away. Where did he go?
Yeah.
Well,
You
he
took a
walked
couple
away.
steps. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. If he was a good cop, he'd like call the whatever board she's.
Yeah, get over to the school. Why? Because this stupid ditzy broad left their kids with someone who was
stranger.
Yeah,
Not to mention that she already left another kid with a bum upstairs. She
Kid.
lost a kid for long enough to be missing since like noon. Or like she was like, "Where's this kid?" She lost a kid.
no, she's the worst teacher ever.
She's the worst teacher ever.
Her negligence is legendary, and I would think that in another episode, if this were, you would see her drinking or doing something that
Crack?
preoccupied all her time.
You think she's a crack whore? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that something takes up an obscene amount of her time, and it's not watching children who are put in her care.
So Gabriel in spare time is a graffiti artist?
To a huge extent.
Like, are we being drugged? What the fuck?
The angelic script started running down the walls, so I'm guessing all that script was telling that story they were seeing. It was just being translated through
Their brain holes?
through the brain holes.
That's what I'm saying. The problem is you don't really know what side Gabriel's on. He hasn't really said which, you know?
And that was my point with Eric Stoltz.
You still don't know what he was like. Maybe that's supposed to be like that. You shoot the text? That must be Hawthorne.
Yeah, good point. A little girl wouldn't have the wherewithal to grab the gun.
And not be able to hit like that. She hit 2 right in center mass.
Yeah.
She might get lucky with 1, not 2.
But I think it's Hawthorne's...
Yeah.
You can't have her!
That's very dramatic. That's more likely to shoot.
Yeah, that's what an average person with a pistol...
She almost killed poor cop. Oops. You didn't kill the angel, but you did destroy her home. Ooh, nice fade. You really think handcuffs are going to stop an angel?
You've got to cut their hearts out.
Is that just a crazy general, or is that...
Well, that's true. You have to cut their hearts out, right? That's how he killed Stoltz. That was pretty cool. He just killed 2 cops. Yeah, who knew about the hurt thing?
Yeah, like how would the general know?
Yeah.
But that's when parts of cop car. Yep, there's the door. But he took the path of the needs of the many outweigh the few. He knew those cops were as good as dead, but he said, "Let's keep going."
Yeah, he didn't even try to warn those cops.
No, because
he was hoping they... But then they drove in the same direction as the cops. That's the problem. If they drove in the totally opposite direction, that'd make more sense.
Yeah, but
like he could have, when they just slowed down beside the cop car, Gabriel could have been standing there and just yoinked her.
Yeah, but he knew those cops were as good as dead. But if he didn't get Mary out of this situation, whatever Gabriel's after, which you don't even know, all he wants is that soul to tip the balance of the war of the angels. And the angels on Gabriel's side want to
keep the status quo, I think.
Have souls, and they will be the ones who inherit heaven. And
is that what it is?
Eric Stoltz was on the side, I think, that when people at the end,
the prophecy was that the people become
humans would become.
So really, Gabriel's just fighting for the status quo.
Eric Stoltz was fighting for the status quo.
The status quo. No, Eric Stoltz wanted the humans to ascend.
Yeah, and that's
not the status quo. That's how God might want it, but that's not the status quo.
But he said sometimes you have to follow orders, and that's our
because God wanted, God wanted the humans to ascend, but Gabriel wants it to stay as it is now.
No, I think he wants. I think he's the usurper who wants to change it so that the angels take over.
The angels already have God said.
But they're just tools. They're not. He wants to take the place of the humans. Live in the bathe in the.
No, maybe. Have more self-will. But they already have self-will, it's because of war.
But I think once one side wins, has that weapon, it ends the war, and I think that's the key.
It's like Lucifer wanting to take over. Gabriel wants to be a new god. Is that what you're saying?
At this point, I think there's two sides. They're fighting like hell, and he wants the war to end. And this would do it. His side would win.
Yeah, but what's the end goal? That's the question.
The end goal is that right now that they don't have that the humans inherit what they think.
Yeah, that's what Eric Stoltz wants. That humans become...
Yes. And
Ascend.
Gabriel wants the angels.
But the angels already ascended.
No, they're tools. They're pawns. He wants them to...
You can't be a pawn if you're, like, waging war and having...
That's what pawns do. They wage war. And look at the wide, long face.
Didn't you notice he has, like, fucking holes in him? Who's in ICU?
Probably the guy he's just looking for any old person.
Oh, a new helper?
Yeah, because... Stable, get out of here.
They sit on her breathing tube? It's funny how they know who he is, eh?
Because they're close enough that
They recognize him.
there must be some knowledge that... Because they're dead and then they come back and there must be something that's imparted midway.
Because, yeah,
Or
they
on
automatically
arrival.
know who he is, which is cool.
That's
And they're always upset to see him.
That's the Arquette, what's her name?
It's not.
No?
No, it's someone else, though. She's from another thing. She was,
Honey Bunny and...
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, in Pulp Fiction.
She is in Pulp... I don't think she's that... Is she that part? Yes. But that's not her cat.
I thought she was an Arquette.
No. Lucifer's the coolest.
God is love. I don't love you.
I didn't know it was Vigo, though.
No.
Amanda Plummer.
Every time the camera pans over, there's a couple more of them.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way to...
I like Lucifer. He's the best part of this movie by far. So it's in his best interest to keep the war going.
It makes no difference to him. People keep going to him one way or
But
the
he's saying
other.
that people...
Has found a way to steal the blackest soul on earth to fight for him.
He's saying that people sit in the earth rotting, and eventually all of them want to go somewhere, so they go to hell. It's better than nothing, right?
I know that this new
He said the ones that were destined for him make it.
No, he said eventually
I'm not here
they
to
come to me.
bitch because I love
It's in his best
So I
interest
have
to end the
heaven.
war.
Yeah.
He's the status quo you're so desperately looking for.
He was.
You've been begging, you've been imparting status quo on everyone but the proper person. That's him. He wants there to be a heaven, to be a hell,
He just
people
wants
go
it
in
the
their
same
proper
as it is
places,
now, yeah.
and to be done. He doesn't have a dog in the fight, to be honest. It's a war in heaven.
Well, he just doesn't want Gabriel to win. Because he said if Gabriel wins, it becomes hell in heaven.
Yeah, it'll be...
And then it's two hells, and that's two hells too many.
Gabriel would be competition. So
That's what he wants. Anybody but Gabriel. He doesn't care if well, but I think if they ascend, he'll stop getting souls too. So.
Don't do that.
he hates when they cry.
First dirt road, go left. 25 miles, you'll see it.
And nobody ever comments that his shirt's got 2 bullet holes in it.
No.
It's funny that the visuals they set up,
Yeah.
the way they panned over it,
That sagging skin suit. Walk one more day with me.
Walken makes it. Walken and the devil are the best parts, that's for sure. Does he need a human just to drive?
he said he can't drive, so I'm guessing that
He can't fly either? I love how the devil's the hero of the story. Thank you, devil.
thank you, Satan, you're the only helpful person.
That's right. Eric Stoltz fucked this kid over.
If Eric Stoltz would have just told me right from the get-go what the deal was,
Instead of being so cryptic,
the whole thing never would have happened.
he could have gotten to the body and even taken the soul himself. Better than being a little kid.
Except for it seems like the angels have a hard line into him because he's a Catholic and he's a Christian, and they
Well,
say
he's a prophet too. He saw
They-
the war.
he's very scent-oriented.
In taste.
But I think because she's a Native American, doesn't have the same theology. They don't, like, they weren't hiding under her bed. They weren't in her mind. They don't know what she's done since the dawn of time. She's like a black hole. Maybe that's maybe that's a bit deep. Maybe it's not what they had intended.
Well, definitely there's a reason why it's all Indian. Actually, maybe that's why Eric Stoltz went there. He went to the reserve, right? Maybe he purposely hid the soul in a Native American so that they couldn't find it.
It was close enough to get Hawthorne because that's where he was, nearby, but then he went and...
He chose that where he was.
Yeah, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, he could have hidden her there on purpose. Like, if it was in a Christian, Gabriel would be right there on him.
And then they'd have been like, oh my god, it's you, Gabriel.
Yeah. And the devil could have been right there. Like, the devil seems to... See, the devil's working around, never right on the girl. He's always working around the outsides.
And I'm just shocked that after seeing how she shoots that handgun...
Yeah, she gave it to her. Most of those Indians are dead in there if she starts firing.
He handed off that...
I don't understand what the plan is for this. That's a weird plan. Do you really think that chain would have stopped the car?
Push the side.
Say exactly what
I know you're
Satan
angry.
said to him.
It makes sense why the angels are acting...
Go to hell.
Because they don't talk, they don't have any rules anymore.
Yeah, it looks...
Commands.
Why heaven's been allowed to be at war for 1,000 years. God's...
Abandon them.
Disappeared or...
Stop talking to them.
Yeah, just is no part of them anymore. Well, thanks for naming her.
He's like, oh, I didn't know which kid it was.
Finish it.
You know what that implies to me?
Yeah.
That Native Americans speak the devil language. I like it's more visceral than Gabriel. He's like, I'm not looking. Oh, it's an odd effect.
That was an odd effect.
Like, jeez, this never worked before.
Usually the shaman shakes that rattle, we sit around for a while.
Smoke some peyote.
Next thing you know, we're going home, having a potluck, maybe a square dance or two.
Enemy ghost is gone.
What do you have? Angel.
Oh, used his own tactic against him.
He was just kind of like, yeah, I tried. Priest is gonna get some. Priest cup.
Maybe, in the end, that's what being human is after all.
There's a lot of maybes. That's not something definitive there, champ.
I like
That's all you took apart of it, took away from the whole thing is maybe having a soul is maybe having some faith and maybe because you know a little bit.
Do you know what I took away from this? Native Americans don't have a soul. Notice Lucifer never went after any of the Native Americans?
No,
He's already got them.
they're his people.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that totally implied that. He knew their words. And there you have it.
Too bad they didn't go to a synagogue. I'd have turned my people against him. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, the Jews. They're all with me. Oh, okay. And we pause now for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Verb, the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Rob.
Funny meeting you here.
In the studio, in front of the mic. It's uncanny.
It's not a regular occurrence anymore. Ever since Studio H got shut down for, well, things.
Violations. Health code violations. You know how it is.
Ever since that happened, it's not been as regular.
Speaking of regular, you regularly update your Twitter account.
I call it our Twitter account because it's Vinnland, OTR.
And what does that stand for, Rob?
Vinnland Old Time Radio. That's this little podcast we do. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Have not.
That's funny because you record it. Oh, I didn't tell you were recording?
No, this is just me
Uh-huh.
being me. Anyways, yeah. So if someone would want to follow your Twitter account,
Our Twitter account.
how would they do that?
At Vinnland OTR.
Fantastic. And people who don't want to follow our Twitter account, who are on Twitter, you make baby Jesus cry. Live with that.
At Vinnland OTR. 2 N's in Vinnland. It's not Vineland, it's Vinnland. If you can't spell, we don't want you.
We now return to Verb, the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board.
So we just watched The Prophecy. What did you think about the movie?
We did just watch the movie The Prophecy, and having seen it in the 90s at some point, I thought I remembered the movie. I did not. I would say that I was pleasantly surprised at... I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't a clear-cut white versus black, good versus evil, and even the themes that were there, ambiguous. Even Eric Stoltz, who was supposed to be either the good guy or bad guy, depending on which way you looked at it. It was interesting, different, and original, and you don't see that in too many Hollywood movies these days. It looked dated. The special effects, particularly at the end, looked dated. But all in all, I enjoyed the movie. And what can you say? It had Christopher Walken in it, and he was chewing up scenery. He said one word, and he was owning the screen. So, what about yourself? What did you think about The Prophecy?
Well, when I first saw it a long time ago, I remember really liking it, so I think I had higher expectations than you did. So I was a little more disappointed having watched it again. Until the end. Until the hero of the story shows up. Lucifer. Because he's the hero. And, yeah, if it weren't for Christopher Walken and Vigo as Lucifer, I don't think it would be great. The story was good. I just don't think the actual execution of the story was great. Like, it was a great idea, but once again, first-time director, only-time director. Maybe it would have been in better hands with another person. It was. I found it very slow at the beginning. Watching Eric Stoltz stumble around a lot wasn't exciting to me. And Elias Koteas was kind of a boring leading man, if he was even the leading man. He didn't do much. It was pretty much the Gabriel story, and then Lucifer sweeps in at the end to save the day. And he had the best lines. And we also found the most useless school teacher ever, who would just abandon her students to strange men who would sometimes make out with them, to disturbing results. Speaking of the angel that was supposed to be the good guy that molested the child, at least Christopher Walken only had them blow a trumpet. And what else? I think I liked, Gabriel, Christopher Walken as Gabriel, definitely a highlight. I think they knew that. I think that's what the sequels are mostly. Just Christopher Walken chewing scenery, like you say. But Vigo was a pleasant surprise. I didn't know it was him. And I remember Lucifer was cool in it, but I didn't remember he was that cool. He was great. And Native Americans worship Satan. That's about it. Anything else to say about the story?
No, you hit the nail right on the head. I think when it came right down to it, Lucifer in the movie did say, listen, your whole thousands of years of war for nothing, because there doesn't seem to be, God doesn't pay attention to you anymore. You kids have been wrecking heaven for quite some time now. Impaled angels for his eyes, as long as the eyes can see. And you still haven't gotten his attention, so don't you think it's time to wrap things up?
It's like when a kid has a tantrum, you just ignore them.
Yeah. And so I think he hit the nail on the head with that, and he did seem to have have a point. Yeah.
He's still evil, and he admits he's evil. Like great lines, like, I don't love you.
Yes. Yes, but, So Rob, would you recommend The Prophecy to someone who might want to take in a almost horror, almost thriller kind of action movie?
For the masses? I would have said no until near the end. It might be a warning to school teachers not to leave their children unattended, ever. Maybe that should be shown in training classes for school teachers, not to be like this one. What else? It's
The cops know better.
Oh no! When
For some reason,
you mean priest cop?
In the middle of his investigation, the investigation that takes him to some rural area, like
His jurisdiction.
Way out of his jurisdiction, under no direction, under no supervision, under no direct orders. I think he probably just walked off.
He never had a suit. Did you notice there was nobody supervising him?
No,
there was no sergeant saying, "Hey, where are you going?" No, you can't have a leave of absence and just go off.
Right, but and the directing, you did mention the directing, and I'm going to say the directing was more so at the beginning. Either I adapted to it or it was.
Yeah, it was more
better.
glaring at the beginning for sure.
It was glaring that this was a first-time director. The shots were very jerky, very canned.
But then later you were saying how the shots were good. Some of the they're walk-in shots where they pan across and.
Yeah. Then at one point, maybe it wasn't that I adapted. Maybe he found his stride because they framed some scenes that were designed to look jarring, where you would see a diner, everyone's spinning a diner, everyone's seen that guy eating his pie at the end of and it just pans over normal rural America, normal Christopher Walken in a suit that was made, must have been for the movie because it looked dated, but it was very bizarre with a lot of buttons on it.
Yeah.
Him sitting there in that suit with two blood patches on him from where he was shot, and you keep panning over, and then there is a woman babbling to herself in a hospital gown.
Psycho.
Completely psycho. And they just linger there, and he lingers
and nobody
on it.
mentions it.
Do you think she's hungry? The director lingers on it, almost as though just drink this in. This is
ridiculous.
Yeah. So the directing at the beginning was painful, but I think
Walken also distracts you from any directing. Just his acting is just you're just watching him. You don't pay attention to how it's being shot. You just look at the way his face is doing. He chews scenery, but he does it in such a way that you can't help but stare at him and go, "Wow, he's doing something."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and the special effects, it's very Highlander-esque. Same writer, but it's just with the the lightning and the. Poltergeist was like that too. It's about the same. Poltergeist was earlier, and Highlander was earlier actually by quite a bit. So it probably shows the budget of this film. If movies made in the mid '80s are the same as a movie made in the early '90s, special effects wise, but it was bad. I would say animated. I don't think it's computer generated. It was animated.
It looked at one point like there was claymation going on.
Yeah, it was. Very similar monster to Poltergeist, now that I think about it. I think it's Poltergeist 2 when they actually show the monster? I think so. I don't think it's in the first one. Anyways, it's very similar looking. I think Geiger designed that monster, so I don't know if they just stole the prop or something, maybe.
I don't know, but
yeah. But there was a cool effect with the angels in the clouds, though. That was cool.
Yes.
There was...
The practical effects were much better than...
Yeah, which is true about this era. Anything earlier than, 2000, really, is practical. It's not until, after 2000 where computers were good enough to be good looking.
So this was made in the time when if you wanted to make an effect and make it look real, it had to be basically real.
Yeah, still, yeah, it was, yeah.
There was no, like...
And otherwise it would
green
look
screen
fake, yeah.
It would look...
I think, like, we watched The Black Hole, another episode, I think the special effects in that were much better, and that was, 20 years earlier?
Yes. But we're talking a Disney budget to a first-time movie maker. Probably a labor of love on his part.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm sure the budgets were much different.
Oh, yeah. He probably took out a couple loans.
But you also think that time, though, you think that the same money would buy you a lot more in 1992 compared to 1979. Anyways, point is, I think it's one of those things where they're like, yeah, they thought that they could do some animation, claymation, and make it look good, and it just didn't pull it off. Like you say, it never looks realistic. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of any movie that looked good, that kind of special effect, that lightning-y. It never does look good. It always looks fake. Even in the best movies, it always looks wrong.
And it was the best that they could do, but it does date it.
I guess so.
It's the colorful laser beams behind you of the high school photos. There was a time when people looked and went, lasers, that's state of the art.
Yeah.
That's the future is now. Stand there and smile. Okay, there you go. That's you in ninth grade.
I'm trying to think. The only thing, like clothing-wise, the Cotis's hair was the only thing that was bad.
The teacher, when she wasn't tarting around in her
yeah, she had her mom jeans on.
Her mom jeans came up right to her navel. Well, yeah, thanks to what's her face. She was Daisy Duke in the remake of The Hazard.
Simpson.
Yeah, Jessica Simpson.
Yeah, so.
So in closing,
I never did say if I approve it for the masses, and I can't. It's hard. It's right on the edge. I would say sure, it does teach a valuable lesson to not trust angels, I guess, and be a good teacher. So I will give it a stamp of approval and let them watch it, but I don't know if they should. Walking's worth it.
Well, Warren, I would say that I would not give the stamp of approval. No, I see.
I was on the edge. I'll go with no, too. Why? I want to hear why, though.
I saw dereliction of duty in every facet.
But wouldn't you say that would be like a cautionary tale? Don't be like this? No? Continue.
I would say no, because everyone has their role to play, their jobs to do, and I don't believe a teacher should be abandoning children for hours on end to throw volleyballs at each other's heads, play hide and seek in various abandoned areas of the school, and
play with bums.
And yes, to literally have contact with two male strangers within the span of a couple days.
3 if you count the dead guy who was spewing blood everywhere at the time.
So, and a cop who just wanders away from his job in the city to track down at the time what he thought was a fairy tale. So right from the get-go, I'm going to say that no, it's not something that should be consumed.
I can definitely see that side. I was looking more of a cautionary tale, but you're saying those people are too heroic to be cautionary tale? They're the heroes?
Yeah.
So they're shown as a good light. If they had died or something, it would have been good.
At no point was the teacher who left a classroom full of kids to...
multiple times.
To read and be quiet for a full day. A classroom full of children.
And then didn't show up for school the next day.
Yeah, she ends up saving the world through her abandonment of her duties.
I give you that.
I can't. That's not something that I can abide by.
I can see that because they weren't punished for if her soul had been taken by Lucifer at the end, then it would have been like, yeah, don't be like her. But you're saying since they succeeded, it's not approved.
Yeah, if Lucifer had have said, "Oh, look at you! You think you're a hero because you're just doing whatever you want to do."
I took all those children to hell.
When you weren't looking, and you weren't looking most of the time when you're walking around in your tied-off shirt, looking like a whore. All those kids, they're all dead. I've got their souls. Except for the Indian ones. They don't have them, apparently.
Yeah,
so
I already had those, it seems.
So, yeah, once convert more of them over to Catholicism, I can take them too. Thank you and good night. Birds.
Lucifer was cool. Maybe that's why I wanted to be approved, just so people see how cool Lucifer was.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay. The stamp is revoked. This movie shall not be seen. You swayed me enough.
Okay.
I was on the fence, as it were.
So my stamp, no.
I agree. Nope. So the prophecy will not be shown at your local theater. And that's for your betterment. There you have it. We'll be back another time to review another movie to see if it's acceptable for the masses.
This has been Verb, Vinnland Entertainment Review Board. Please follow us on Twitter at
VinlandOTR.
And feel free to email us at
VinlandOldTimeRadio@gmail.com.
Thank you and good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this ad. Here's Captain Courage with a very special guest.
And I'm here with Lobster Lass. What was that, Lobster Lass? Give us that email address one more time, Lobster Lass.
Once again, that's VinlandOldTimeRadio@gmail.com.